This is Karen with newclevelandradio.net, and it is Tuesday, December 16th. Boy, it's almost wintertime. Oh, no, it is wintertime here in Cleveland, Ohio. And it is time for What in the World with Paul Seaburn and his sidekick, John Donalo. And welcome, guys. What's going on?
Have you been outside, Karen? It is not only winter, it is icebox Alaska, almost Antarctica winter here in Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah, I know, but I'm not going outside. I'm letting my husband go to work and I'm staying in the
Oh,
house nice and warm.
good idea. And they don't open the window or anything like that
Yeah.
because it is frigid. I don't know what it's like everybody else, for everybody else in the world, which is our immediate audience here for What in the World. But let's get things kicked off here. I am your host, Paul Seaburn, um, the host of What in the World. I'll say it a couple of more times here in case you haven't heard it yet. Everybody's favorite weird news podcast, real news, sometimes strange, always funny. That's our motto. We're here every week, and by here I mean on newclevelandradio.net, on YouTube, wherever you download your podcast or watch them. I want to mention watching because you can see the photos that we have going along with many of the stories on YouTube. That's a great place to partake of What in the World. The Thank you for joining us from wherever you've joined us from. If you've come from Facebook or from newclevelandradio.net, I'm on Facebook. Karen is on Facebook. We've got links there um, from YouTube or from mysteriousuniverse.net, which is where I'm the editor and head writer for a couple more weeks yet. Um, so thank you for joining us from there. Who knows? We might be able to get some more people from there after I leave, but we're going to talk about that next week, not this week. The first voice in your ear was Karen Hale, the media mogul at newclevelandradio.net, our producer and co-host. Karen is also the provider of Yes I Can Coaching with Karen, our sponsor. Great coaching services. You can find out all about that at newclevelandradio.net, along with the other podcasts that Karen produces. Great place to go for all different kinds of podcasts. Come to us for real news that is not unlike anything you see or hear on the main. Whoa,
Thank God.
it all worked up on the mainstream media. And boy, I don't even want to get into the mainstream media this week. This is the place we have no politics, no business, no religion, no nothing, no crime, none of that stuff. We just have strange stories, real stories, fun stories from around the world. And if they're not funny enough, the three of us have a great time talking about
Yes, we
them. And we
do.
hope you too. And by the three of us, I'll introduce that third voice in your other ear. That is John Donalo, our other co-host, the color commentator for our show, and host of What in the World of Sports with John Donalo, my old buddy from college. I mentioned that because John is dressed in paraphernalia from our college, John Carroll University, which is still in the playoffs, Division III. How about that game, John?
Yeah, that's they had an outstanding game this past week against Berry College, Paul, Karen, and audience, and they're now awaiting the winner of another game. They're off this week, but they are in the same semifinals for Division III on the national level. So we're all excited about that.
Yes, we are. Boy, it's big news for our little college in Cleveland, Ohio, University Heights, Ohio. By the way, I think Karen mentioned this last week, and I want to mention it again because it's really cool. This is a Jesuit college, a Catholic college. For the first time in the college's 100 plus year history, we have a female president of the university, and
That is right. That is right.
she's really good. She's been the vice president. She's done a ton to help admissions at the school. So it's great. It's great that she got the job. I can't believe in 2025 we're still talking about how wonderful it is that a woman finally got the job. But so what? Let's celebrate it. I wish I remember her name.
So,
Do you remember her name by any chance?
I,
Uh, I don't.
No. Okay. Well, we're not going to
Sorry.
worry about it then. If she was sponsoring the show, we'd give her a plug. There's
yeah,
a
we certainly would.
All right. So what are we going to be talking about today on What in the World? Oh, we've got some great stories. I'd like to start out with local stories. So we've got a dinosaur in Cleveland. So that ought to be fun. A mistletoe world record. It's the holiday season, and you know how much we love to talk about world records. So we've got a mishmash of the two of them with that story. Some fishy stories. I've got a smart fish, a vengeful fish, and some lazy fishermen in my former state of Texas. So you want to tune in for that. This is cool. When a bad smell is good for you. And normally we think of bad smells being bad,
Yeah.
but it's actually a bad smell that is good for you. Wait till you hear what the smell is. Um, now, for any of my paranormal friends who came from Mysterious Universe, what to serve when the extraterrestrials arrive. So what do the space aliens eat? We're going to find out about that. Plus, we've got some more odd news. We've got world records. We've got trivia. John's got a great sport for us, as he does every week. And then we play everybody's favorite weird news game, Bluff the Co-host. Oh, it's the game that everybody's talking about around the world. So you want to tune in for that. Okay, let's get our photos up here while I check out my script. So we're going to start off with a Cleveland story. It is the holiday season. There's that tells you who we are, what in the world. Oh, there's I forgot about our other sponsor. What would you say to a naked space alien? My new book. It's available on Amazon, also on my website, paulseaburn.com. My favorite stories about aliens, kind of like the one we're going to be talking about later. So check that out. Okay, so we're in Cleveland, Ohio, as I mentioned. Um, I know John's got his Christmas tree up. Karen has her menorah, as I saw
Yep.
on Facebook today. So, and I also have my Christmas tree up. We were thinking about the classic Cleveland Christmas tree, and I actually found a picture of the classic Cleveland Christmas tree. Here it is right here. This is what we're all going to have next year. We're going to have a Christmas tree
Oh my God.
yeah, Polish sausage and pierogies. That's what this Christmas tree is absolutely covered with. Um, the only thing I would do differently, they laid some kielbasa on the top of the tree. I would have put some sticks in there to make the links of kielbasa into a star. Then I think it would be the perfect.
Now that'd be appropriate, Paul. Yes.
So that picture comes to us from our friends over at Polish Gifts on Facebook. So thank you for that. It looks tasty, doesn't it?
Oh, sure. Unconventional though.
Unconventional, but not in Cleveland, John. This is very conventional, I would think. But
Okay,
boy,
sure. We'll take that into account.
yeah, that's the kind of thing, like every day when people come over to visit, you can pull some ornaments off, and you've got your appetizers or your dinner for the event. So, Merry Christmas to everybody in Cleveland. Let's go right to England with our first story. So this guy, he's 61 years old. His name is Brian Cade. So this is our first world record here. He now owns the world record for the fastest garden shed. Fastest garden shed. He put his garden shed, the shed from the back of his house, on the chassis of a sports car with a 4.5 liter V8 engine, which is a big engine. That's a fast chassis for a very dumb vehicle. But he took it to Elvington Airfield in York, England. And get ready for this. He was clocked at a top speed of 123.43 miles per hour, which he actually beat someone else's record. So he's not the first person to race a motorized shed. He's at least the second, and he now owns a very impressive 123 mile per hour world record.
Why would you create a motorized shed?
So you could get mentioned on What in the World, Karen. You know
Oh,
that.
that's right. Okay.
People do the darndest things, Karen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
right.
I'm just wondering how he can see out the window because he's got some pigs on the front of his window. I don't understand that part. But anyway, he was driving home Poor guy got stopped by the cops on the way home because they heard he had some hose in the back of the shed. Um, yeah, that's right. We'll take that as a compliment there. He when he was done, he slammed on the brakes and he got a second world record for the fastest lawnmower going through the front windshield of a shed. So if you're going to try this at home, make sure you tie everything down in the shed. His grandson, he has a grandson, he's 61 years old. His grandson wanted to drive grandpa's shed, and but he's not old enough. So he said first he had to get a learner's permit, and then he also had to get a builder's permit, to
Oh boy.
Hey, yeah,
to drive a shed. Yeah.
yeah.
So it's street legal, believe it or not, because it has both a seat belt and a tool belt. So he's able.
Oh boy.
So John, you don't have a shed. I happen to have a shed. Would you
No, we do
try
not.
something
We
like
do,
this?
but that's by design, Paul. For us, we have everything is able to fit into our garage, thankfully.
Well, you could motorize your hot tub. I think that would be a cool thing to do.
Well, yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see about that, Paul. I'll leave it at that.
Well, I do have a shed, and I would like to motorize my shed and take it around the block at a high speed just once to scare the crap out of the chipmunks that live in there.
Oh, you could do that, sure.
Now, I want to say, looking at this, for those of you who don't, it's a shed. It's a rectangular shed with what looks like a motor in the front. Even at that terrible description, it still looks better than that Tesla Cybertruck, don't you think?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, I would say so. Yes, I agree.
Oh, yeah. So, okay. All right. So let's move on to Washington, D.C. for our next story. Washington, D.C. This is not a political story, by the way, before you go reaching for the dial. It's actually a romantic story, a lovely romantic story. 1,435 couples joined in the middle of a street in Washington, in the business district, near the national mistletoe. That's the national mistletoe hanging over the street right there in this picture. 1,435 couples standing underneath it, kissing for 5 seconds. And after they did that, they set the world record for the most kisses under a national mistletoe. Apparently, other countries have these mistletoes as well. So we're competing against, maybe Russia has one, who knows, or China. So we now own the world record for the most kisses underneath a mistletoe, a national
Why
mistletoe.
is it blue?
It's cold.
Oh, good answer.
I wondered that question too, Karen, and I looked at the description of the photo and it said national mistletoe. So
Okay.
maybe it's a ball filled with mistletoe, and on New Year's Eve they hoist it up to the top of the Washington Monument and drop it. That would be cool.
That would be cool.
I'll suggest that. But speaking of the Washington Monument, they set a second record. It was so cold that day, they needed a chapstick that was the size of the Washington Monument after all that kissing. So,
Okay.
yeah. This is the second year that they've done this. They said it's that it looks awfully big. They said it's only 10 foot wide, that ball. It's installed on Anthem Row, which is the street that they're on. So this is only the second time. Before the mistletoe was there, they used to have to go to another monument in Washington, D.C. and kiss under Lincoln's toe. So
oh, jeez.
I don't know if Lincoln's toe, I guess it's high enough off the ground that you could kiss underneath it. Who would want to, though? So everything worked out great, except there was one couple, the patriotic couple. They recreated a scene from A Christmas Story when they ran over and kissed the national flagpole. And that, they ended up with their lips frozen to it.
Oh, my.
Not a good thing to do, John.
No, not when it's cold outside like that.
Yeah. Now, also, they did get a musical group involved with this as well. At the Kennedy Center, just down the street, Kiss was there getting an award. So they got Kiss to come by, and they had the most members of Kiss kissing underneath the national mistletoe. So
Oh,
I thought that was pretty cool. Gene Simmons, by the way, his date who he kissed was all the way across the street, and he managed to
Oh boy.
extend his kissing part. We're
uh,
keeping it clean here on What in the World for the holiday season. How about that? His kissing part. Do we know what that is, John?
Yes, I think so. I think everyone knows what it is. I don't think we need an explanation, folks.
Okay, that's all we. Okay, let's go to the dinosaur story. Oh, this is a fun story. This is a fun one. So, paleontologists, those are the people that study dinosaurs, they've determined that fossils found in Montana are from a new species of dinosaur. In fact, here's a picture of it here while I describe it. So, this dinosaur has a parrot-like beak, a horn on its nose, and a star-shaped skull. So, they named it the Stellasaurus after David Bowie, who was during his Ziggy Stardust days, he was referred to as the Star Man. So they named it Stella, which means star. They said after David Bowie. I think Bowie would have been thrilled by this, by the way. Unfortunately, the paleontologists are being sued by married women who are complaining that now their husband has a new nickname for them. The Stellasaurus, women named Stella. I left that part out there. I missed that in the rehearsal too.
yes, you did.
That's
So
okay,
women,
Paul.
women named Stella are mad because now their husbands call them Stellasaurus. What a
Yeah.
terrible thing to do. Steven Spielberg saw this. He's already working on a sequel to featuring the Stellasaurus. It's a cross between Jurassic Park and a streetcar named Desire. So I guess when people see the Stellasaurus chasing after them, they do their best Marlon Brando and yell, "Stella, Stella." Jeff Goldblum will probably do that, or maybe Fred Flintstone. I think Fred Flintstone would be good in that leading role. So this creature, the Stellasaurus, weighed 2 tons. 2 tons, was 20 feet long, and used its horn to attract females. So it's kind of like a prehistoric guy in a pickup truck.
That's a good way to describe that, Paul.
There you go. I thought it fit very well, John. So Bowie's song was Starman, one of my favorites. And John, what's Starman? What album was that on? Do you remember?
Was it on Aladdin? No, it was on Aladdin Sane, maybe?
No, it was on Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars.
Okay,
Yep.
it was either or, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's one of those on that great one. So like the song Starman, the female Stellasaurus tended to her young, because the male would just let all the children boogie, just like the song.
The lyric in the song, Paul. Very
Yeah,
good.
that's right. So for all you young kids out there, that's a line from Starman. Look it up. There's a program on Google that'll give you all the lyrics. So what does that look like? If I showed this to my grandnephew, who's the family dinosaur expert, he would say, "Oh, Uncle Paul, that looks like a triceratops." Does that look like a triceratops to you, John?
Yes, he does. He looks like a triceratops. Yes.
So that's the reason why I asked John that question is because John knows everything there is to know about college and pro mascots. John, name a college with the triceratops as their mascot.
I do know this, but I can't recall right now what school that is.
I'll give you a hint. It's a local college.
Oh.
I'll give you another hint. It has 3 C's in its name. I'll give you another hint.
Oh, I know. I
Cuyahoga
know. I have the answer finally. Thank you. With all those hints, Cuyahoga Community College.
I'm sorry for that delay for all of you out there listening. Cuyahoga Community College is known as Tri-C for people who can't pronounce all 3 words at the same time. Their mascot is, here's a picture of it. Here's their logo right here. The Tri-C Triceratops. And here is their mascot right here, just a menacing looking Triceratops in blue sweatpants of all things. The nickname of that mascot is Stomp, by the way, which is what I guess Triceratops did when they ran around in the prehistoric world. John, there's also a pro team with the Triceratops as their mascot. This is a little tougher because the name of the team is not the Triceratops, but their mascot is one. Yeah, it's a tough one. I'll give it to you. It's the Colorado Rockies, and their mascot's name is
Okay.
Hinger. And the reason why they picked the Triceratops is because when they built Mile High Stadium, they were they were excavating, and they found the bones of a Triceratops in the dirt. So they adopted that. But the Colorado Triceratops is too hard for baseball fans to say.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah, Rockies sound pretty good. Now, there's also an NBA team that has a dinosaur for their mascot, and that would be the Toronto Raptors, named for the.
That is right. That's
Yeah,
you're
now
right, Paul. Of
pretty
course.
obscure. I'll give you a break on that one, John. I'll give you a break on that one because I I saw this when I was doing some research on the story, and every time I hear the name Toronto Raptors, it reminds me of a song from when we were in our high school years called "The Rapper." Do you remember that song, "The Rapper"?
Yes, I do remember that song, Paul. Yes.
With those catchy lyrics, rap, the rapper raps, they call him the rapper. So,
Did that ever make the Billboard chart?
Karen, good question. Not only did it make the big Billboard chart, it was number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100 in that month, for a whole month, only beaten by a Beatles song. I forget which Beatles song. Oh no, it was by Simon and Garfunkel. "Bridge Over Troubled Waters" was the number 1 song. Number 2 was that song, "The Rapper."
Wow.
What terrible things we listened to. So, John, do you remember the name of the band? This is really obscure.
I'm trying to. I know I can't recall. I can't, but I do
I
remember
couldn't
the song
remember it, so I had to
specifically.
look it up. It's the Jaggers.
Jaggers. Okay.
Jaggers, the Jaggers.
Okay. Yes, I recall that now. Okay.
Yeah, from Western Pennsylvania. And the reason why they called themselves the Jaggers is because that's a Pennsylvania dialect term for any small, sharp-pointed object like thorns or spikes. So that's what they wanted to call themselves. But I guess spikes was already taken, so they called themselves the Jaggers. Now, I'm going a long way here. The one of the most famous members of the Jaggers was a guy by the name of Donnie Iris. Do you remember Donnie Iris?
Sure, Donnie Iris and the Cruisers. Sure.
Donnie Iris and the Cruisers. That's right. So when Donnie Iris's other band, no, I think Donnie Iris and the Cruisers did a song called "Wild Cherry." No, that was the name of the band, Wild Cherry. After either before or after the Jaggers, somewhere around.
Okay.
Do you remember I'm not even gonna. They were formed in Ohio. That's why I'm bringing this in a full Ohio circle. Mingo Junction, Ohio, was where they were formed. Their big hit, Wild Cherry's big hit, "Play That Funky Music, White Boy." I mentioned that because the other Ohio connection, a lawyer in Cleveland, wrote the lyrics to that song, and my wife worked with him during one of her jobs in Cleveland.
Oh, wow.
That song, 1976, was number 1 on the Billboard R&B and pop charts. Disco still sucks, but congratulations to Wild Cherry. So I got a couple of Ohio references in there for our Cleveland listeners.
Yeah, very good, Paul.
So,
very good.
There you go. Yeah. Let's go to my other state where I lived for 28 years, Texas. Now I can just imagine guys, and this is a guy story in Texas doing this. So the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department had to issue a statement because they got an unusual number of requests from guys who wanted to fish using drones. They wanted to fish. What they wanted to do was have the drones fly over a lake or over a river and drop bait close to their boat so they wouldn't have to cast very far. And the fish would come up and they could catch them easier.
Ah,
Yeah, yeah. Before
ah.
they also warned, so they said this is illegal in Texas. And if you're from out of state, they also warned the fishermen that this is Texas. So uh, most fish have guns. So just
Okay.
if you need drones to help you fish, you know, a better idea would be to download the app that helps you find the nearest red lobster. You'd have much better luck finding a fish doing that than using drones for fishing.
Yeah,
Uh,
I agree. If I can offer this comment, I mean,
yeah,
why would a fisherman do that? I mean, it kind of violates the spirit of fishing. That's it's up to the person, the individual, to be able to capture the fish, and then now you
exactly.
use an artificial tool
It's like
to
using a
do that.
step ladder in basketball.
Right, Paul. That's a
Yeah,
good
yeah.
analogy. That's
Right.
that's a very good comparison, Paul. Absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like I agree. It's unsportsmanlike. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. Uh, the old expression. Yeah. Right. So I wrote that down. I said, oh, that's a good one. Like shooting fish in a barrel. And then I wondered to myself, where the heck did that expression come from? So it turns out they don't know where it came from. They think that their people were way back when 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 people were looking for something to do, they came up with this idea of putting fish in a barrel and shooting their guns at it. In somewhere in the 1800s, where they had no television or no cell phones or anything like that to occupy their time. However, in 2005, in the state of Vermont, it was legal to shoot fish with a hunting license. So so this is the state of Vermont now. That the last that they have a record for. So that was only 20 years ago. I can't imagine they changed the law since then. It was legal to shoot fish with a gun. While they now you couldn't use the drone to make them come up to the surface. You had to throw your own bait out there, uh, and they called it a Vermont food gathering tradition. So apparently it goes all the way back to the first Vermonters. Um, that I think this is also the state where you can shoot trees to get maple syrup. I'm not sure. I'd have to check on that, but why
Oh,
would you? Also unsportsmanlike, John. I would say,
Yes,
um,
I agree.
yeah, using a gun to shoot fish. What's wrong with you? Here's what happens, by the way, if you mess with fish. So this is a perfect segue into the next story. So this is from China, the Sun Asia Ocean World and Polar World. So this is a combination aquarium and winter zoo, I guess, in China. They had a visitor there on the aquarium side, and he was smoking a cigarette. And he refused to stop smoking a cigarette after the aquarium worker asked him nicely. So you know what happened? He's standing next to a tank with a beluga whale in it. That's the beluga whale in the middle there. So
oh,
the beluga whale got a mouthful of water, and you can see in the next photo, it spit it onto the guy to put his cigarette out and embarrass him at the same time. This is not, somebody asked me if this was CGI. This is a real, I saw the video. This is a real incident that happened in China. Um, not only did this guy quit smoking after that happened to him, he also gave up eating sushi, he gave up eating caviar. He doesn't hit golf balls into the ocean anymore, because he doesn't want it to get caught in a whale's blowhole. This is what happens when you mess with fish, people. And then to make it matters worse, the aquarium person came by and said, well, now that we really would prefer that you left the aquarium after all this. And he refused to leave. So the whale hit him again because he hates to listen to people blubbering. Yeah,
oh,
yeah, I know. That was,
yeah.
I know. I should have stopped at the first one, but you know me. After watching this scenario, there was a crooked banker who was walking by, and he immediately surrendered to the authorities rather than walking by the shark tank because
Okay.
they don't like those loan sharks. I think this is what shut down SeaWorld and the killer whales. Remember when SeaWorld was in Cleveland?
Oh,
And,
yeah.
oh, it
Sure,
was
in Aurora, Ohio. Sure.
very popular place to go to. They had all the killer whales, and all of a sudden they shut them all down. I think that there was a killer whale that was threatening people. Free Willy or Grandma gets it. So you remember? Do you remember Free Willy? That was
Yes.
a
Oh
big
yeah, sure. The movie, yeah.
the
Mhm.
movie. It was based on a true story, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think it is based on a true story.
Yeah. Anyway, so now not only are fish vengeful, that's our vengeful fish, but they're also smart. And this next story is proof of it. So this story comes from Sweden of all places, but it's about an octopus. A musician by the name of Matthias Krantz spent 6 months teaching, get ready for this, his pet octopus how to play the piano. There's a picture of the octopus underwater playing a piano that's rigged to play underwater. The name of the octopus is takoyaki, which means I love to play the piano, I think. So he recorded the music and he put it out on the internet. And when they heard him play Jay and the Americans, remember Jay and the Americans?
Yep.
They changed the lyrics of their biggest hit to Calamari. Why? Okay, for you kids out there. What was the name of that song, John? It was Katamia?
No, it
Caramel.
was. I thought their big hit was "Bend Me, Shape Me." I thought.
No. It's Katamia. Why must you say goodbye? Or why must
See, I
you
don't
say
recall that
goodbye?
though. Okay.
Yeah, Karen, that's it, right? Yeah.
I think that's how.
Yeah.
I think that's the name of it.
He also he wanted to teach the octopus's garden, but he got a cease and desist from Ringo Starr.
Oh,
Yeah. So here's how he taught the octopus, Takoyaki. When Takoyaki hit the right note on a piano, he would feed him, which I believe is how we got Fats Domino too. Oh, no, was that fat shaming? No, that's not fat shaming. Because my
Okay.
team here, I also said I was going to do the same thing about Chubby Checker and Mama Cass. What? Poor Mama Cass.
yeah.
So we, without saying it, all of those three singers that I mentioned are how would we say, not thin. And
They're portly. They are
portly.
portly.
There you go, John. Portly. All the singers of that size these days are all taking Ozempic, so they're no longer any singers of that size, which means the game is never going to end because the game's not over until
The fat lady sings.
I heard people in the next county yelling that. That's
And if Mama Cass had kept kosher, she wouldn't have choked on a ham sandwich.
I never heard that. Wow, that's pretty. But that's Jewish logic if I ever heard it.
It sure is.
Poor mom. Look it up, kids. I'm not going to explain it to you. Okay, we'll stick with another animal story here. So this comes from the Isle of Jersey, which is off the coast of France in the English Channel. I think it's in the English Channel. A homeowner with a chicken coop in St. Lawrence Village on the Isle of Jersey was shocked when they went out to the chicken coop and what they saw was 3 turkeys hiding among their chickens. There's a picture of the 3 turkeys right there. They didn't want to become Christmas dinner, so they escaped from wherever the farm that they were at, and they were hiding out with the chickens to escape being eaten. They were captured and they were taken to an animal shelter for protection. So most people said they should set them free, let them be wild again. But a lawyer for the Butterball people said, no, you can't do that because then they'll teach other turkeys how to escape and it'll ruin. Right?
Really?
Now they interviewed one of the chickens and the chickens didn't like having the turkeys there. But for one thing, they complained about the alarm going off too early. The chickens also didn't like that one male turkey who kept strutting around asking if they'd like to see the size of his pop-up thermometer. Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. Boy, I
He's
can't even
on a
speak
roll.
a double entendre in there. The did you know I could use the origin of the pop-up thermometer? We all just had Thanksgiving. We got Christmas coming up. Many of the turkeys that you buy have a pop-up thermometer. This was originally based on ceiling sprinklers. Here's a picture of a pop-up thermometer, by the way. This will help me explain it. So inside, at the bottom of the thermometer, the piece that's inside the turkey, there's a little piece of wax that holds the thermometer, the thing that pops out, which is on a spring. So when it's cold, the wax is hard and you stick it in the bird. And the wax is designed to release, to melt at, I guess, 180 or 185 degrees, whatever the prime temperature is for the turkey. And when it melts, the little pop, the spring springs open and the little pop-up thing comes out. That was invented in 1966 by George Cleaver. George Cleaver is the guy's name. He called it a thermally responsive signaling device. Pop-up thermometer sounds a lot better. Yeah, right. So you could there's not every turkey comes with a pop-up thermometer, and then there's people who swear by them. There's other people who say, I don't know. Did your turkey have a pop-up thermometer, John?
Did, as a matter of fact, yes.
Yeah, I didn't think you got that close to it, but you probably did the carving. So
Well, yeah, sure. And we want to make sure we have it at the right temperature. So that's where the thermometer did come in handy.
do you break? Is that a tradition in your family to break the pop-up thermometer and make a wish? Is that?
No, that's not really a tradition. Now, I would have to say it is not a tradition.
I think you're supposed to pull the plunger out. I think that's whoever gets the waxy ball or the spring. It gets. Okay, no. Wait, that's not true. Don't do that. All right, another car story. Uh, this comes from California. This is a typical California story. So this woman is very pregnant. She's about to give birth. Her spouse, the baby father's not there. So she calls for a Waymo. A Waymo is a driverless taxi. She gets into this Waymo taxi with no driver and says, "Take me to the hospital. I'm about to have a baby." As the Waymo is driving the speed limit because they're not allowed to drive fast to the hospital, the woman gives birth inside the driverless taxi. The So they said eventually the Waymo made it to the hospital, and when they asked what happened, the taxi took credit for it, and with his engine started smoking, to make them think that he was the father. Here's a picture of the Waymo right here. There's what a Waymo looks like. It was very confusing because the Waymo had a speaker inside the taxi where their support group, real human beings, can talk to the passenger if there's a problem. So she had, told them that she was giving birth. So the Waymo car stopped, but it was confusing because the Waymo people were telling her to push, but then there were people on the outside who thought it was stalled and they were pushing. So it was yelling, "Don't push" to them. So don't push, don't push. There's a rumor that because of this, it got so much publicity that Waymo is going to rename their new model taxi the Placenta.
Oh boy.
Yeah, no, I don't. Believe it or not, this is not the first time a baby was delivered in a driverless taxi, which says to me they ought to check the suspension on these things, because if they're bouncing these ladies a little too hard on the way to the hospital.
Probably.
Yeah, Hallmark's working on a line of Robo Father's Day cards because this is happening so often. And I sent her some names for the baby. It's a baby girl, by the way. So I suggested Kamo, Jamo, or yes, I was born in a Waymo, for everybody who asked her if she's a girl, right? It's easier to, back in the old days, I think it was hard to give birth in a car, but it's easier now because you got the cup holder. So gives you some.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I know. There should be a prize though, I think. If you give birth in the same car you get pregnant in, I think the car manufacturer should give you a prize and maybe a free car. I don't know.
Oh, Paul, you would have to look into that.
Yeah, yeah. The what would happen if you got pregnant on a city bus, though? I don't know if I want a bus. I don't want to I wouldn't want to ride a bus to the hospital.
Yeah.
But it would make for some great stories. I was thinking about doing a sitcom maybe or a movie based on that. Okay.
Maybe we should.
There you go.
Yeah.
Astrobiologist. Now, we talk about what in the world is the news from around the world. It's also around the world, around the universe. So astrobiologists are studying the other planets in our solar system. And they said that if aliens exist, they know what they would eat. Here's a picture of aliens eating dinner, by the way, while we talk about this. So if you have aliens over for Thanksgiving or Christmas or Hanukkah, what they eat are high energy particle clusters known as galactic cosmic rays. These are on the planets that are most likely to have life forms on them. So they think that's what they eat. That's what the adults eat, I should say. The kids eat galactic cosmic nuggets. So you want to have
Of course they
both.
do. Yep.
So believe it or not, they found a spot on Mars where this food is available around the clock. And there was even a sign there. It's called the Particle Cluster House, like Waffle House.
Mm.
And they this is why aliens come here to abduct our cows, because they're tired of eating particle clusters on their home planet. It's also why they have those tiny mouths and those big, long, skinny fingers, because it's hard to pick up those little clusters and stick them in your mouth.
No, makes sense.
But they're all thin, John, so they're not coming here for Ozempic, obviously. They're
Right.
coming.
Yes, I don't think they need
Yeah,
that.
it looks like I can't tell what kind of food. It looks like mostly bakery and bread on that table there.
Right.
But
That's exactly what it looks like.
they could have a turkey, I guess. Okay, another animal story here. 4-year-old bull mastiff named Ozzy Pick. That's his name, Ozzy Pick. Has a new Guinness World Record for the longest tongue on a living dog. His slurper, that's it right there, measured 7.83 inches long, almost 8-inch long tongue on this dog. It's so long, he can drink water and lick himself at the same time. That's how long it is.
Oh boy.
Yeah. He eats a lot, John, but he pays for it by working at the bowling alley as a ball washer. So poor dog. It's so long. He accidentally swallowed a couple of tidy bowl men. Um,
No.
That's a pretty old reference, isn't it, John? I haven't seen a tidy bowl man swimming in a toilet in a long time.
But that was a real popular commercial probably, 30, 40 years ago.
Hugely. It wasn't swimming. He was in a rowboat.
Right.
So this dog, his name is Ozzy, but his favorite rock star is Gene Simmons, of course, from
Of course.
Yeah.
How would we talk about Guinness records a lot, and what they do is they send judges out to verify these records. How would you like to be the judge that had to measure an 8-inch tongue on a bull mastiff?
Glad I didn't have to do it.
Somebody's got to do it. Yeah, I would think that the bull mastiff would start licking him, to improve his chances of getting the record, licking his face. Now, this was my most popular story on Facebook this week, still rising on the charts. A man was hiking in Utah's Arches National Park when he had to be rescued when he got stuck in quicksand. Yeah, here's a picture of him. Oh, there's another picture of Ozzy. I liked Ozzy so much I put another picture of him in there. So here's this guy. They're pulling him out with a ladder. He's stuck in quicksand. So they put the ladder over the sand so the rest of them wouldn't fall in, I guess. He's okay. And he's also been offered a role in a new movie called Lawrence of Utah. Aaron gets that joke. That Lawrence of Arabia, I think, was the first movie to have a famous scene where someone dies being sucked into quicksand. I don't know if you remember that scene. It was one of Lawrence's friends, which caused people to be terrified of quicksand ever since, even though you can't sink that far and sink in quicksand. This guy he only sunk to his waist, but he was stuck there in this cold quicksand for hours. So his sinkage was much less than his shrinkage as a result of this.
Very
Boy,
good, Paul.
long way. Yeah, I bet. Yeah, I'm sorry. That was a so hiking in quicksand. That's what he was doing. He was hiking in quicksand, which is the new number one oxymoron in 2025. Hiking in quicksand. You just don't do that. You can't get sucked into quicksand all the way above your head. There's a buoyancy law that says right about halfway, you are now at the buoyancy point and you will no longer sink. So don't panic. Just wait until somebody comes. Um, they because the sand it's a mixture of sand and water. It's too dense, which is what they also say about people who get stuck hiking in quicksand. They're too dense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this one comes from the world of medicine. Researchers at Johns Hopkins Medicine have found that sniffing hydrogen sulfide, a very recognizable smell because that's the rotten egg smell in flatulence. Sniffing hydrogen sulfide can protect aging brain cells from cognitive decline. This was an actual study, and they used actual human flatulence to test it, and it saves you, despite the look on this lady's face right here. She is helping, her husband is helping her brain cells stop aging by flatulating while they're in bed. How about that?
Paul, that's a really weird story.
Yeah.
Isn't that? It's traveling fast, John. I went to the local grocery store. I bought a can of Bush beans. It already said approved by the American Medical Association.
Oh, geez.
Think about this, kid. The next time you avoid sitting next to your old uncle at Christmas dinner, he could be helping your brain right there.
Wow.
Although I think if this is true, they're going to have to start charging admission for riding elevators because people are going to be riding them up and down all day long, hoping to improve their cognitive ability by sniffing flatulence. And on that note, wow, what a lead into what in the world of sports would
I don't know if that's such a good lead-in, Paul.
I'm sorry, John. I just realized that was my lead-in story there. That's what happens when you don't come to rehearsal. You would have caught me on that one. So
yes.
I asked my old buddy John. Regular listeners know that John and I went to college together, the John Carroll University. We're fraternity brothers. John knows more about sports than anybody I know. So I challenge him every week to come up with a sport that fits the description real sport, sometimes strange, always funny. And John always manages to come up with one. He's got a great one for us this week. John, why don't you tell us what it is?
I will, Paul, and Karen and audience. Thanks for the introduction. Thanks. So our sport this week is one that you probably have never heard of. The name of this sport is diving chess. Let me explain. As the name suggests, diving chess is actually a competitive chess game that is played underwater. It was invented in 2012 by Eaton Ilford, who was a London-based entrepreneur and also an American chess master. He came up with the sport as part of the annual Mind Sports Olympiad, a week-long event with over 70 different board game tournaments. As for the rules of diving chess, the game is played at the bottom of a swimming pool using a weighted chessboard with magnetic chess pieces. The bottom must be between 3.5 feet and 5.25 feet deep. The players dive underwater to observe the position of the chess pieces, and then they play their move before they resurface to take a breath.
Wow.
When one player resurfaces, it is the turn of the other player to then dive. If someone comes up for air without making a move, they get a warning provided that they have a legitimate excuse. These are reasonable people. The next time, it's an automatic forfeit. Now, players must also wear a swimsuit, but they are not permitted to use any oxygen supplying device. But they may wear a diving mask or swimming goggles, as this gentleman here in the photo, as you see. No weights are allowed. However, the player who is waiting is allowed to put their head into the water to observe the board, which I think is a good rule.
So it's
Now,
not blurry. Yeah, okay. I get
yes. Now, there is no requirement to say check when putting the opponent in check, but it is allowed. Sportsmanship is paramount in this sport, and deliberate splashing or kicking during an opponent's move is not allowed. Diving chess games last on an average of 1 hour, and it's a real challenge to manage one's oxygen levels while making good chess moves.
Oh, I'll bet.
It's really an involved process. Now, the best player in the world is chess master Michal Mazurkiewicz from Poland.
It's this guy right here.
That's him. In addition to taking the gold at the Olympiad the last 3 years, he holds the Guinness World Records for the most simultaneous diving chess opponents. That record is 700 dives against 16 opponents,
Wow.
and he won 13 matches and also had one draw in the competition. Now, if you'd like to try the sport, diving chess sets are available online for the mere cost of $399.
Because they're so
Now,
heavy, I guess. Yeah.
right now, in closing, if you have good lungs and are a good chess player, diving chess is for you. But just remember, it's impolite to say to your opponent, "Is that a rook in your Speedo, or are you just glad to see me?"
Oh,
What a closure that was, folks.
that
What a
was.
closure.
Could get
Yeah.
a warning. I get a warning if you say that. Wow, that's diving chess. This guy looked, he doesn't, I guess he looks like a good swimmer. But he looks more
It
like,
looks relatively athletic, right?
yeah. I love the trophy in the
Yeah.
shape of the
Mhm.
knight from Chess Piece. Wow, what a weird and yet surprisingly, interesting sport, underwater chess. As Karen would say, who came up with this idea? Why on earth would you do this? Other than why not?
Well,
Yeah.
Eaton Iffeld, he's the London-based entrepreneur. He has time and money on his hands, and the fact that he's an American chess master kind of
Yeah,
all
yeah.
connects it together when you think of it.
Well, sure. This would be I imagine this is a TV worthy type of sport.
Oh, I think so. Yes.
Yeah, you could put cameras underwater just like they do for swimming. The but boy, and then you have to make the move on one breath. That's the other part I really like there. So
Right.
I'm not that good of a chess player. The and I had a hard time playing chess above water. So, but the more
Out of the water. Out of the water.
out of the water, I'm sorry, out of the water. Yeah, completely out of the water. I couldn't imagine doing something like this. And then, John, I was thinking, we had dinner the other night, and after we got together, I was reminiscing, and I thought, I seem to recall while we were in a fraternity, one of the other fraternities challenged us to a game of underwater chess, diving chess. We had to go to another pool because we didn't have a pool at our school back then. But do you remember that?
No, I'm totally in the dark on this, Paul. You have to educate me on this one.
Don't remember. Thank goodness. There were some photos taken of what happened. So another fraternity challenged us to a game of underwater chess, and the older guys told John and myself, the young guys, okay, you guys figure out how to do this. Find some heavy chess pieces and a pool. So we found a pool, and the more we thought about it, the more we tried to do this. I wasn't good at chess, and John wasn't good at swimming, so neither one of us was going to do very well in this sport. So we came up with a better idea, John. Now I know you'll remember this. We came up with underwater beer drinking.
Oh,
Oh
I
yeah,
can
Yeah,
now
see
that
you
you
guys
mentioned
doing
that,
that.
there you go. A sport
sure.
that we knew we could win. And sure enough, here's a picture of John drinking a can of beer underwater, giving the thumbs up yet, so he's doing really well there. Here's a picture of me. I went for a bottle. You can tell that's me because the beard and the sunglasses there. So we did so well. We did so well. We just blew the other team out of the water, so to speak. But then we had so much fun. We got right back in the pool, and all of us got together and had a little underwater beer party. And everybody was happy and had a good time. So underwater beer, underwater chess is the real sport there, by the way.
Well, thanks, Paul.
So
Those
much
photos
fun.
brought it back to me. Thanks.
Yeah. I think we had to take a sip and then go up and catch a breath and come back down and
Yeah,
take
it was a little complicated. It's not as easy as it looks, ladies and gentlemen.
Kids, don't try this at home. We better get our warning in there. All right. That is the end of our sports, which means it's time for everybody's favorite weird news show, Weird News Game. Bluff, the co-host. I have 3 stories similar to the ones that I've been telling all afternoon. One big difference. Those stories were real. These stories may be real. They may be a bluff. And it's up to Karen, John, and all of you playing at home to decide real or bluff. Wagering is allowed, so place your bets. John and Karen, hands on the buzzer. Let's get right to story number 1. I believe these all have a Christmas theme. It seems like every rock band and singer has an album or 2 of Christmas songs, but Twisted Sister is one heavy metal band that refused to stoop so low for cheap annual sales. However, lead singer Dee Snider admitted recently that the band's biggest hit, We're Not Gonna Take It, has the same chord progression as the Christmas carol, O Come All Ye Faithful. While Snider claims it was unintentional, he admits that he sang in the church choir until he was 19, and they got and the other members got tired of him screaming during "O Come All You Faithful." But he said that song, he sang it so many times, it's burned in his brain, and now in We're Not Gonna Take It as well. Snider isn't getting the band back together for a holiday album, but he thinks it's great if you sing We're Not Gonna Take It in church on Christmas to the music of Oh Come All You Faithful. All right, real or bluff, Dee Snider from Twisted Sister stole Oh Come All You Faithful's chord progression for We're Not Gonna Take It. What do you say, Karen?
Well, you sort of lost me because I've never followed Twisted Sister, so I don't know what their music sounds like.
I can't imagine that.
Why was that?
I said, I can't imagine you didn't follow Twisted Sister.
No, that wasn't my kind of music.
Oh.
And I know what "Oh Come All You Faithful" sounds like because I even sang it in school.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
But I'm going to say this is a bluff.
Okay. A Twisted Sister and Oh Come All You Faithful and We're Not Gonna Take It are not related. Karen says that's a bluff. Twisted Sister, by the way, was a hair metal band, so they all had hair down to their shoulders. Oh, you know that part. Okay.
I know that part.
All right, Karen says it's a bluff. John, how about you?
Yeah, I agree with Karen on this one. I think it's a bluff. I'm trying to think of that song and that you had mentioned, right? And trying to remember the chords to that song compared to "Oh Come All Ye Faithful," which is one of my favorite Christmas songs. So, but I just don't see the connection.
Don't see the connection. Okay, so neither John nor Karen say that they both say that's a bluff. It's not a real story. Let's check with Dee Snider, and Dee Snider says it is a real story. And
No,
they
really?
have actually played it in a concert once. That once and only once they played it. Nobody liked it, so they stuck with We're Not Gonna Take It, which everybody loved. It's in the middle. That's why I was having a hard time, but you can find it. I think you can find it on the internet. So anyways, score's still tied 0-0. Let's get right to story number 2, also a Christmas story. The bravest Santa in the world is one at a mall in Australia who calls himself Santa Croc. Santa Croc got that name because instead of reindeer, his sleigh is pulled by 8 giant crocodiles. While they don't fly, they do keep the mall clean of flying monkeys, and Santa Croc makes sure they stay secure in a secure pen while he asks the Australian kids what they want for Christmas. Then Santa Croc reminds them to leave some beef jerky with the milk and cookies so he can feed his crocs, and sends them on their way with visions of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Crocodile leading Santa Croc over the river and through the swamp to their home in the outback with presents on Christmas morning. Okay, so the bravest Santa in the world is Santa Croc in Australia, whose sleigh is pulled by 8 giant crocodiles. Real or bluff? John, we'll go with you on this one.
Yeah, Paul and Karen, an audience. I'm going to say it's real. I mean, the Australians are known to do, courageous things, different things, right? And I could see, yeah, that. I could see this happening. So I'm going to say it's a real story.
Okay, John says it's a real story. Karen, how about you?
Well, I think it's a bluff because every year at Christmas, they track Santa and his sleigh and reindeer all across the world. So it's got to be a bluff,
Oh, so you've seen the radar
I
and
watch the radar every year. I
here,
got to
and
know when
it's not
Santa,
crocodiles. It's
yeah,
not crocodiles. No, it's reindeer. So
reindeer.
Karen says it's a bluff, and John says it's a real story. Let's check with the judges, and the judges say, congratulations go to Karen, who, hey, I'm surprised that you spend Christmas Day tracking Christmas Eve, tracking Santa Claus. That's right there. I think that's a bluff.
Actually, it's not. I keep hoping that somebody's going to give me a gift this year.
No kidding.
Oh,
Wow. How about that? That's great. Okay. So that means the score is Karen 1, John nothing, but points are doubled in round number 3. So John has a chance to come roaring back with this third Christmas story. Everybody knows the Christmas poem, A Visit from St. Nicholas by Clement C. Moore, is the source for the names of Santa's reindeer: Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Donner, and Blitzen. Their names are strange, but they're better than the ones from L. Frank Baum's little-known book, The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus. Yes, that's the same Baum who wrote The Wizard of Oz. Baum's reindeer names are Flossy and Glossy, Racer and Pacer, Reckless and Speckless, and Fearless and Peerless. Oh, and Ready and Steady. There's 10 right there. Baum also wrote an Oz-like sequel to that book, A Kidnapped Santa Claus, where Santa is kidnapped by 5 demons, more of his speed. Baum's Christmas stories never became popular, probably because they had no singing witches and dancing munchkins. Okay, so there's also a Christmas story about reindeer written by L. Frank Baum that was not as popular as A Visit from St. Nicholas. Real or bluff? We'll go back to you, Karen.
Well, I've never heard about this before, and you know how Christmassy I really am. So I'm going to say this is a bluff.
Okay, Karen, this is the bluff. John, what do you say?
I'm going to say it's a bluff also. I was thinking in a way it might be real, but I've never heard of it. Not that that means a whole lot, but I think by now that'd have been more of a popularized story. And so on that basis alone, I'm going to say it's a bluff.
Okay, so John says it's a bluff. Karen, you said it's also a
Bluff.
bluff.
Yeah.
Both of you said it's a bluff. Let's check with Santa Claus. And Santa Claus doesn't like the story either, but it is a real story. L. Frank
Really?
Baum. Believe
Well,
it or not.
congratulations, Karen. Wow.
Yep. Way to go, Karen. It's on. You can read all about it on Wikipedia. I'm working on it. I think it would be a great cartoon. I think I could sell Disney on it easily. And we asked this question last week, how Santa's reindeer got their name. These are all names that mean speed in Danish. I forget what country.
Scandinavian countries.
Yeah, Scandinavian countries. and Donder and Blitzen also means speed. Donder means like bomber, something like that, and Blitzen obviously means fast. So that's where all the names came from. But yeah, he had 10 reindeer, and he really did write a sequel about Santa being kidnapped by demon. I think I'm gonna ask Tim Allen if he wants to star in that one because he was
that would be a good one.
he
Yeah.
the weird Santa.
He'd be good. He'd be good
Yeah.
typecast in that.
Yeah, no kidding. And on that note, we have reached the end of another episode of One in the World. I want to thank Karen Hale, our co-host, producer, and media mogul at newclevelandradio.net, our platform. Thank you for everything you do for us, Karen, and for all the other shows. Thank you for being our sponsor with Yes I Can Coaching with Karen. Also, I want to make sure I mention Cassandra Kubinski, who is, also our sponsor. Did you have something to say about Cassandra? Or?
Oh, I was just agreeing with you.
Yes. By the way, if you haven't bought your Christmas gifts yet, I think Cassandra has a new song out called Joni Mitchell's Both Sides Now.
Yes.
Yeah. So you can check that out. Find more information on our show and on also on all Karen's offerings at newclevelandradio.net. Then I'd like to thank my buddy John Dinalo, our co-host, color commentator, and host of What in the World of Sports. Thanks, John, for all that you bring to our show and for putting up with me as always. Hopefully, we'll be talking about some winning teams next week again.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping for, Paul, for sure. And let's hope that the Cleveland Browns can have a performance coming up against the Buffalo Bills, a tough opponent at home here in Cleveland on Sunday. And I think John Carroll's going to await the winner of the game this weekend, and they'll be playing the following weekend.
I have it on secret information that John actually went to visit Santa Claus and sat on his lap, and he wished for a win for the Browns this year. So,
Paul, that's a very accurate story. Let's leave it at that.
All right, and most importantly, I want to thank all of you for listening, tuning in, watching us on YouTube, however you partake of What in the World. We wouldn't be doing the show if it weren't for you, our listeners and viewers. Thank you so much for joining us every week. It's so much fun for us to do this. We have a big announcement coming up in 2026 about the future of the show. It's going to be great. So all of you helped us get to the point that we're about to enter in 2026. So we can't wait to tell you more about it, and that'll be coming in the next few weeks. And on that note, it is still cold here in Cleveland, Ohio. So all of our Cleveland listeners, bundle up if you're going outside. If you live somewhere where it's warm, lucky you. Everybody take care, and we'll be on Monday. For those of you who listen live, we'll be on Monday next week. That will be our Christmas show, our annual Christmas show. I've got some cool gifts for last minute shoppers, so we'll be talking about those as well.
Sounds wonderful.
Yeah, on that note, I think we better bail out of here. So bye-bye.
Take care, everyone.